Well, here we are at the end of the day, and believe it or not, I've managed to sort of driveline out on this machine finally. And I don't know that the camera will necessarily pick it up, but if we look along there, hopefully we might see the chain running in a perfectly straight line towards the gearbox sprocket off the rear wheel sprocket. And I've moved the rear wheel over, certainly by at least half an inch, possibly knocking on the door of 3/4 actually. And if we look there, that's the spacer that I've added on this side, thanks to being able to remove an equal amount on this side. And as I sort of said in my earlier video, I've also ground a little bit away from the face of the brake plate just to help it clear the bulge of the swing arm. And I've moved the whole plot over and got a nice run for the chain, and really the chain is as close as I can get it, because much more it'd be rubbing on that rear shock absorber spring. Having done that, I found that it looked a little bit like we're going to be in trouble with the rear tyre possibly making contact with the mudguard, and my initial thoughts were I might have to adjust the spokes to shift the rim and the tyre over away towards the right hand side of the bike. But looking at the tyre between the legs of the swing arm, again, sorry if we can't really see it too well, it's not quite central there, but it's not far off. I would imagine that probably moving it over to the off side by about 1/8 of an inch maximum would probably do it. It's not a great deal at all and not a huge worry. But looking at the mudguard, let's say, it looks like there could be interference on this side, and there's a huge gap, relatively speaking, on this side clear of the tyre. But what's actually happened, I think, is the mudguard has been fitted to line up with the tyre as things were when the wheel was actually in the wrong position relative to everything else. So what I'm probably going to try and do there is shift the mudguard over towards the left hand side of the bike a little bit, because everything else is actually pretty well lined up. And I'm really pleased that I've been able to do this, because I had my doubts, and hopefully very soon I'll be able to take a ride on it and demonstrate that the chain should no longer be trying to jump off and throw itself off a sprocket. So very, very happy indeed with that, and that's where I'm leaving it today. And hopefully the next video might be a ride on it, hopefully more successful than the last one, with no crunching and banging from the rear end. The only thing I won't be able to do is refit that chain guard as it was. We can see the chain runs fairly close to the tyre, not overly close, but I know for a fact the way that chain guard was made there, that particular one isn't going to work anymore on this machine. I'll have to come up with something else, but that's a minor hurdle compared to everything else. And we've also got snail cam adjusters now to tension the chain, which we didn't have before. Well, we had one, we've now got one on either side. The wheel spindle, I managed to shift that over. Hopefully again we can see that, where the end of the spindle just comes through just beyond the nut on this side, and we've got a few threads sticking out there, but the main thing is we've got a full nut's worth of threads on either side. And this is the nut that I did away with that used to fit between the swing arm and the brake plate. There was also a washer then on the inside of the brake plate between it and the proper spacer, so between getting rid of this and that washer, like I say, I've been able to grab about ½ an inch of spacing. I've also ended up having to put the brake torque arm on the outside of this little sort of plate on the swing arm. It was on the inside before. That's how much I've moved the wheel over. I've put a few washers there just behind, just to bring it out to clear, and moved it out there likewise. So I'm pretty happy with everything. hopefully we're good to go. Like I say, no chain guard on it at the moment, but everything else is done, and hopefully we'll have a ride on it soon to confirm that finally the problem should have been put to bed.